It started quietly, almost as if the city itself was holding its breath. Rome, the place where Yaman had built not just a career chapter but also a personal sanctuary, suddenly became the stage of an unexpected disappearance. The actor, adored by millions and followed in every corner of the world, had left without warning. No grand farewell, no heartfelt post, no cryptic message on social media. Just gone. And as the Italian tabloids scrambled to make sense of it, whispers began to grow louder. Why did he leave? Where was he going? And most importantly, who, or what, was he leaving behind? The answer didn't come from Can. It came from Demet Özdemir. For weeks, she had been silent, her presence felt only through carefully curated images and short interactions with fans. But silence can't last forever. And when she finally broke it, her words carried the weight of years of speculation, longing, and heartbreak. She began by acknowledging Rome, calling it a city of light, of love, and of unforgettable memories. To many, it sounded like a compliment. To others, it was a confession. Because what Demet described wasn't just Rome as a city, it was Rome as a chapter in her relationship with Can. She spoke of laughter under the Roman sky, of stolen moments away from the paparazzi, of walking through cobblestone streets like two ordinary souls who forgot, for just a second, that the world was watching. But then her voice cracked, and her eyes filled with something rawer. "You can leave Rome," she said softly, "but you can't leave behind the heart you left in Istanbul." It was a line that set fire to the internet. Within minutes, hashtags exploded, memes appeared, and clips of her words were replayed across platforms. Fans from Italy, Turkey, and beyond dissected every syllable. What did she mean? Who exactly was still in her heart? For the first time in a long while, Demet wasn't the polished star or the untouchable celebrity. She was a woman speaking her truth, hinting at a love story that was both unfinished and unforgettable. And as her words circled the globe, a chilling thought spread among fans: maybe Can hadn't just left Rome. Maybe he had left something, or someone, behind that he could no longer ignore. Demet's confession was far more than a romantic quote. It was an earthquake disguised as a whisper. For years, audiences had been captivated by the undeniable chemistry between her and Can. From their first on-screen partnership, sparks had flown, not just in scripted dialogue but in the subtle glances, the lingering touches, the way silence between them carried as much weight as words. Off-screen, rumors followed them like shadows. Hotel sightings, late-night calls, anonymous tips about secret meetings, all of it fed into the legend of their supposed romance. But both Can and Demet had mastered the art of silence. They never denied, never confirmed, leaving fans in a constant loop of guessing and hoping. And now, suddenly, Demet had cracked the door open. By saying Can's heart was still in Istanbul, she wasn't just making a poetic remark. She was giving life to every rumor, every whispered story that had haunted the tabloids. Istanbul wasn't just geography. Istanbul was history, memory, unfinished business. Istanbul was love. Journalists reacted instantly. Italian newspapers ran headlines like "Demet confesses the love left in Istanbul," while Turkish media framed it as the revival of an old flame. Analysts on television shows debated whether her words were accidental or intentional. Some said she was simply being nostalgic. Others argued she was speaking directly to Can, a message wrapped in public confession. Bloggers went further, suggesting that perhaps this was a carefully timed revelation. Her way of telling the world that the story wasn't over. And then came the fans. In one corner, thousands poured their love into Demet's posts, leaving hearts, prayers, and hopeful comments. "We believe in your love," wrote one. "Rome is nothing without Istanbul," wrote another. In the other corner, skeptics accused her of playing with emotions, of reigniting drama just to stay relevant. But even their criticisms showed one thing clearly: everyone was listening. What made her words so powerful wasn't just what she said, but what she didn't say. She didn't mention Can directly. She didn't give details of nights spent together or reasons for his departure. Instead, she left blanks that fans and media were all too eager to fill. And in those blanks lived the possibility of reconciliation, heartbreak, and maybe even destiny. While the world analyzed Demet's every word, Yaman himself remained in silence. His sudden departure from Rome wasn't accompanied by an explanation. No farewell note to fans, no media interviews, nothing to quench the thirst for answers. Yet, paradoxically, his silence said more than words ever could. Every blurred airport photo, every shaky fan video of him passing through terminals became viral content. Each image carried with it the weight of mystery. Where was he going, and why? The timing made everything worse, or perhaps, better, depending on perspective. Demet had spoken, and Can had vanished. The sequence fueled a narrative that couldn't be ignored. Was he leaving because of what she said, or had her confession been triggered by his departure? It was a chicken and egg question that no one could answer, but everyone wanted to. Demet's emotional interview only heightened the tension. Her tearful eyes, her trembling voice, it wasn't the performance of an actress. It was the rawness of a woman still caught in a story that refused to end. Some love stories don't end, she whispered, they only pause. And with that, fans erupted again. Forums, fan pages, and gossip shows replayed her words endlessly. Memes compared their story to the great romances of film and literature. Some even joked that their saga deserved its own Netflix series. And still, Can remained silent. But silence, in its own way, is a form of speech. His lack of denial, his refusal to contradict Demet's narrative, gave her words more power. If he truly disagreed, why not say so? If she was wrong, why not correct her? Instead, his silence became a tacit agreement in the eyes of fans. It became proof, not absence. As days turned into weeks, the story stopped being just gossip. It became a cultural moment. Italian magazines dubbed it Il shock d'amore dell'anno, the love shock of the year. Turkish outlets called it proof that destiny always finds a way back. International fans labeled it the heartbreak saga. What had started as whispers in Rome had now become global headlines. But at the center of it all were two people, Yaman and Demet Özdemir. One silent, one confessing. One leaving, one remembering. Together, their actions told a story more powerful than any script. Demet, by speaking, gave voice to years of speculation and unspoken feelings. Can, by leaving Rome without a word, gave weight to the idea that maybe, just maybe, Istanbul was calling him back, not just as a city, but as a heart he couldn't abandon. The impact on fans was enormous. For those who had followed them since their earliest collaborations, this wasn't just celebrity news. It was personal. They saw in Can and Demet's story reflections of their own heartbreaks, their own unfinished romances, the what-ifs that haunt every heart. And so, the debate raged, was this the pause before a reunion, or the pause before a final goodbye? Demet seemed calmer after her confession, as if releasing the truth had lifted a weight. Can, on the other hand, stepped into Istanbul with flashing cameras all around him, but no answers on his lips. And that silence, once again, spoke volumes. One undeniable truth emerged from it all: love in Rome may have been beautiful, but Istanbul still holds the heart of Yaman, and maybe, just maybe, the heart of Demet Özdemir too. Whether this story ends in reunion or heartbreak remains to be seen, but one thing is certain, the world is watching, waiting, and hoping. Because some stories don't belong to the people who live them anymore, they belong to everyone.